Hey, so today I just want to break down how you can find a way to really take your health and well-being seriously, because there is so much around health and well-being which is about really a toxic culture. And I'm very mindful of how that is often used as a way to manipulate. It's sort of a hook. It's seen as um, influencers being able to say that they have got the answer to you really avoiding burnout, maintaining um, your level of energy, all of those sorts of things. But what that is doing is really just looking at the kind of surface level things that you can do to take care of yourself, because you can you can work out every day if you want to. You can really focus on improving your diet, and you can meditate. You can do all of those things, which are great. Don't get me wrong, that's fantastic. But if you're doing those as a way to reduce the symptoms of stress, but you're not addressing the source of the stress, then that is just really acting as a kind of a crutch for you so that you can just get through each day, but you're not taking care of your needs. And this is a really common issue. And I think it's really important to talk about this because this is kind of relates back to my story and how I ended up burning out, because I was trying to take care of everyone. I was trying to run a charity and do all the things that go with that, which is highly stressful in itself. I was also trying to volunteer in my community. I was a chair of the board of governors at my kids' school. I was doing all of the stuff with school, but also all the stuff about raising children and all of the pressures around that. And I was doing all of those things. But then every morning I would meditate. Each day I would do some form of exercise as a way of decompressing and de stressing. And I would be very vigilant about what I ate. But the thing about that approach, like I say, is that it is only looking at the surface level, it's just treating the symptoms of stress. And the trouble is that if you continue to ignore the symptoms of the problem, you can't compartmentalise that. You can't keep pushing it down. You can't keep working out to make it go away. Eventually, it will surface. And for me, it felt like a kind of accumulation of all sorts of kind of assaults on my identity, if you like, or being undermined or made to feel like I didn't belong, or I could never do enough, or I would never achieve or have the impact that I wanted to have. And so you can't hold the tide back on that forever. And what I'm suggesting, what I'm proposing to women is that it's important for you to see the signs of that and to recognize what your body is trying to tell you before it gets too late. Because I was laboring under the misapprehension that I could beat it. I was really kind of focused on how can I beat burnout? Well, I will just keep working out and I'll watch what I eat and I'll meditate and I'll do all of the things. Just sort of really consuming all of the sort of self-help information that I could, all the books, Brene Brown and Kristen Neff, and women who I really admire, and that their approaches are really important, but kind of missing the point of what both of them are saying, which is really about connecting to your authenticity. That's kind of the bottom line to all of it. You've got to find a way to connect to your authenticity and then follow it. So what I had learned from my whole experience of burning out and the pressures on my health and what happened to me was that I'd lost sight of what I wanted. I was on a career path, which I sort of eventually found was not really leading to anywhere more. I was stuck. I was definitely stuck. And I was doing all these different things to try to find a way to find meaning and purpose. but it was just a sort of distraction. So what I really needed was to connect with what I wanted. And that means really kind of connecting with your inner wisdom. And so for me, that meant I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to work with clients, and I knew that I wanted to work in activism. That was what I knew. So I set up my own business. And I also needed to connect to my values and my authenticity. And that was going to provide me with my purpose. And it's something that evolves and grows and changes over time. You learn through the process. But if you can do the exercise of connecting with your values, that's a really powerful way to what I call find your North Star. Because once you do that, once you're aligning with your values and you're showing up as your whole, complete, unapologetic, authentic self, I firmly believe that you can't make a mistake. Whenever you put yourself out there, or you speak up, or you say what you think, when you're doing it from a place of authenticity and people don't like it, well, let's just cut to the chase, because if you don't like it, we're maybe not going to get along anyway. So that is really crucial. And then the last part, which is always the part that kind of gets forgotten about in terms of things like, if you want to look at it in terms of personal development or coaching, it is once you get clarity and you create a plan, a direction, how do you stay on track? Nobody really thinks about that. Nobody really thinks about the kind of the getting clarity part and how it aligns with your values and your authenticity to kind of guide your direction. But then also, once you've done that, how do you stay on track? Because actually that's the hardest part. You can set an intention to do something. Okay, you need the clarity to do it, otherwise you might be heading in the wrong direction. But once you're satisfied that you're clear on what your aims are and the direction that you want to go in, if you can't stay on track, you're not going to succeed, or at least look at it like you're not going to make progress. So I had to learn the tools that would help me to persevere and to do that. And that's really about building resilience. So that's doing certain things like looking at how you are making progress. So not looking things as being black and white. These are things that I've learned through being coached by others, being mentored by others, that when I would sort of show up and feel like defeated, the response would be, hang on a minute, you're looking at things in black and white. You're looking at it as one or the other. You're not looking at it as part of the journey. And another mistake you're making is that you think that progress is linear, and it's not. I'll talk more about that in another video. But you need to be able to recognize that life is more nuanced than succeed or fail. And you also need to get comfortable with the fact that when you are doing something new or you're trying to get somewhere, you will have to learn, and learning is uncomfortable. It doesn't mean that you are failing. Again, it's not like, very often we think, I've got to do this. If I do it right the first time, then I know I'm good at it and I can carry on. No, that's not how it works. It's about being able to recognize that you're learning and to sort of get comfortable with that. Then it's about building trust. So you can look back over all the decisions that you've made and you can say, actually, I'm capable of making sound decisions that are going to support me in the long run, and I trust myself. And then the other part to it is that it's really crucial to be able to reality check, because so often when we are looking at personal development or looking at tools, there's so much on social media or YouTube or just generally around this idea of kind of self-generating motivation and just being able to sort of keep going. You've just got to build your self-belief. And what's far more powerful is to be able to have a kind of frank conversation with yourself as your own coach or your own mentor, to be able to say, when you're feeling like you're doubting yourself or you're not sure, well, just hang on a minute, let's look at the facts. So have you attempted anything like this before? You may have done something similar that's perhaps less pressured, but there are definitely skills and experiences from that you can bring to this. Now, what is the adversity that you're facing? Let's get a reality check on that and see how we can come up to meet it. So that's how you break it down. It's pretty simple, but it does require a bit of support. So what I'd recommend is have a look at my website. There's plenty of free tools on there. There's plenty more videos like this on YouTube. If you want to go deeper, then you can always contact me about coaching. I do one-to-one coaching. And right now, if you book with me before Friday the 18th of July at 5 p.m, I can book you in any time before the 31st of October. So I'm providing a bit more flexibility over the summer because I know it's tricky over the summer. And I'm especially reserving 5 spots for UK-based women, and I'm especially encouraging women with caring responsibilities, those who work in activism, and anyone who works frontline in any of the caring professions to get in touch, because I know that you will be a perfect fit for the kind of support and tools that I can provide. Anyway, if you want to learn more, then hit like, share, and follow for more content.